Alright, let's solve problem 6. Collections compare arrays versus ArrayList. So in this project, we are asked to create a file called CollectionsCompare.java. Right, I've created the file and added a class and a main method. So first, we've been asked to read an integer n. Okay, so an integer n, that's going to be the size of the array and also the initial capacity of the array list. Then we are going to read n integers. Okay, suppose n was entered by the user as 5. We are going to be reading 5 numbers from the console. We are going to store those numbers both in the array and then the array list. So the next thing that we are going to be doing is to calculate the sum of all the numbers in the array, okay, using a method called SumArray, and also all the numbers in an array list using the method called SumList. Then we print both the results. So let's define what an array is. In Java, an array is a data structure that allows you to store elements, multiple elements of the same type under one variable. Okay, and then the size is always fixed, it's always constant. It does not grow, it does not shrink. So whereas an array list is also a data structure that allows you to store elements of same type, but the capacity or the size of the list can grow and shrink depending on adding elements or removing elements. The size is always dynamic. But for arrays, the size is always static. So with that out of the way, let's first initialize our scanner so that we can read n from the user. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be doing is to initialize or to declare and initialize both our array and our array list. So the array list, the syntax, you put these pair of angle brackets and specify the type of elements that you need to store. Then we're going to be calling them as array list. Then we call the constructor like that. We can also specify the initial capacity here, but it's not necessary, but let's just leave it like that. Oh, this is capital N. Alright, so get rid of this. The next thing that we're going to be doing is to read n integers. So we're going to be using a loop here to read the numbers for int I equals 0. Okay. So let's ask the user to enter the element. Okay, so let's store that inside a variable called value. Okay, so we are going to set the ith index of the array with the value, and also we're going to add the value to the array list. Okay, so now we've done with this step, reading n integers. So the next thing is going to be to to display the sum of the numbers using an array, and also the sum of the numbers using an array list. Alright, so let's create this method, which this first one is SumArray. Let's create that method. which is accepting an integer of an array of integers. Okay, so we can say int the running sum is 0. Then we can say that for each integer in our array, we can accumulate it to our running sum, and then we can return the running sum just like that. So I'm just going to duplicate this because technically it's almost the same. It's just sum list. I'm going to call this one sum list, which is accepting what an array list. An array list of integers. We're also going to call it an array. The running sum is 0, and the array then we add, yeah. So that's all we have to do here. Now inside of our main method, let's call these functions and get the result. So this, I'm going to call this some array result. We call this some array result. Let's call some array function and pass in our array just like that. And also let's call this some array list result is equals to some array list or some list. Yes, some list, and then we pass the array list. Okay, so the next thing is to display them. Okay, so the first line we need to display the sum of the numbers using an array. Then on the second line we display the sum of the numbers using an array list, just like this. Simple print statement, some array list result, and then this will be some array result, and then this will be some array list result. Yes, and then we close our scanner. Yeah, so yes, we're done. Let's test it. Java CollectionsCompare Java. So let's say we are reading 5 numbers. Enter element number 1, element 2, element 3, 1. Yeah, sum is 18, will be 10, 15, 18. Yeah.